All right, welcome to the Village of Cottage Grove Plan Commission on Wednesday, August 13th, 2025. This is a hybrid meeting, both on Zoom with the Zoom link on the top of the agenda and in person at Village Hall. It is 6:30, so I'll call the meeting to order. We have a quorum and the agenda was properly posted, so we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, this is the public appearances, public's opportunity to speak.
No, I'm just here to answer questions.
Okay, we do have someone from one of the zero lot lines, just in case there are questions when we get to that. But there is no one on Zoom or no one else in the audience, so we'll move on to discuss and consider the minutes from the Plan Commission meeting on July 9th, 2025. Those minutes are linked in the agenda.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
There's a motion by Alex and a second by Don. Is there any other discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. We do have items 6 and 7, which are discuss and consider zero lot line applications. The first one is at 101 and 103 East School Road. Both of these were just approved at the Utility Commission prior to this meeting. Aaron, if you want to give a background on it.
Yeah, and Mr. Bisbee is here kind of representing both of these. So the same thing came through for approval in 2013, but I guess they never got recorded at that time, so they're bringing them back again now. This is just taking two existing duplexes that are one lot each and splitting them in two, so going from 2 lots to 4, basically. As Cindy said, the Utility Commission did approve these earlier, so the only condition that would still be applicable is just having them record the maintenance agreement with the Register of Deeds, which we were just kind of looking at that before the meeting, so I don't think that's an issue either.
Any discussion or questions on the 101 and 103 School Road parcels first? Alex?
Yes.
Sorry.
Wait my turn. No worries. I don't know who the question is for. Probably more Aaron. I mean, we're seeing a lot more of these. From a future approval status, from a history, should we not be doing duplexes as one lot future state? Or should we, because everyone's converting, so obviously there was some choice was made and now we're changing owners or whatever side, changing minds. So should we be a little more aware of when there's other future approvals for
Really,
multi-tenant?
'cause sometimes we get them where people are requesting it the other way, where they're combining two into one, so it's just kind of cyclical, and I think just kind of a coincidence that these are.
So these
some
could
of these are
actually
coming
come
in at the
back
same time.
and want to go back into one property.
Could, theoretically,
Okay.
yeah.
Fair enough. So we can turn it back into a farm at some point, I guess. Too. Okay. A little extreme, but thanks. All right.
Other comments or questions?
I'm ready to make a motion.
Use your microphone.
Okay, I'm gonna recommend, Gonna recommend we approve the application from the Stephen T. Randall Revocable Trust to split an existing duplex at 101 and 103 East School Road to 2 parcels with the condition that the maintenance agreement be recorded. And I see the plumber has signed off. We always make sure that the plumber signed off that they have separate water and sewer laterals. Otherwise, they got to do a different agreement, so.
And I would second that motion.
All right, there's a motion by Don and a second by Heidi. Any more discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. We then have the zero lot line application at 105 and 107 East School Road.
I would make the motion then to recommend approval of the zero lot line application from the McFarland Meadows LLC to split an existing duplex at 105 and 107 East School Road into 2 parcels with conditions.
Second.
A motion by Heidi and second by Kim. Any discussion on this anymore? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Moving on to number 8, potential amendments to the subdivision ordinance. This is for feedback only, and I'll let Aaron kind of give an overview. There is an agenda or a memo in the packet that kind of outlines some of the findings that would be up for consideration.
Yeah, so these are some recommendations that came out of the housing study from a couple years ago. Kind of put them on hold as we went through a few different public works directors, but now that Kyla's here, we're kind of taking these up again. Not really intending to get too far into the details of this tonight, more just notice that this is something that's upcoming. One thing that may be of interest to this group, last Thursday, as part of a committee I'm with Dane County, we took a tour over at Grandview Commons with the guy who designed the neighborhood. And we kind of looked at different lot sizes and how alleys affect neighborhoods and different street widths and things like that. And he said he is open to doing similar tours with other groups like this one. So if there's any interest in this group in doing something like that, we could set that up, and that might be a good way to kind of get into some of these issues. Let's see. General nodding, yeah.
Well, I would think so. That would be helpful for this group, especially because a few meetings ago, we did have a proposal that would have included potentially houses with alleys too. So it would be really nice to have that discussion. Granted, that was a concept that's getting feedback before they move forward, but would be helpful.
I think one of the considerations, like I was sort of going through it, looking at the streets and alleys and that type of stuff though too, is that it does potentially, it changes the dynamic of what Cottage Grove is, right? So we don't have this and then we have that. And so I think feedback from residents would be good too, right? So this we're the bedroom town, we don't do a lot of businesses, all that stuff is there, and some people, that's why they're here. And we hear that comment. We also hear we want growth and businesses at the same time. So it's that tough mixed push-pull of what we want to do. So I think visiting these places, you know, we hear about it, we see the pictures, you know, it might be, you know, whether we can do it on our own time or as a group as a posted meeting, it would probably be helpful. So we can talk better to the community about, hey, this is the direction we're thinking about. Mm-hmm. Is this really what Cottage Grove needs to look like? We hear the same thing. We don't want to be Sun Prairie. We don't want to be Madison. We want people to, you know, blah, 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 where it's, some of these changes, smaller roads, you know, with the alleys, it changes the dynamic a bit. Mm-hmm. So I think, yeah, more information, more hands-on, it would be good because it is a bit of a pivot.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So I will try and set that up as soon as we can.
I'm not crazy about narrower streets. We had a long time ago, we had kind of a phase where they wanted to narrow all the streets in the name of traffic calming, that if we narrow the streets, everyone's gonna slow down. No, if we narrow the streets, they're still gonna drive fast and it's just gonna be worse, you know? So I don't like, I live on a nice wide street and I like it, you know? So not crazy about that. The alleys, I think, are pretty cool. I think it's a good way to get the density that the developers are looking for without more multifamily, you know? So they're getting their density, and I'm not a huge multifamily fan. And I think a lot of times it ends up being kind of an an old school, older fashioned feel to it. And I think if you drive, you know, around Metro Market where there are a bunch of them, those have all been maintained very well. I just think it's kind of nice and neat. They got the little alleyways. I think most of them are all.
So that's the neighborhood we'd be trying to tour, yeah.
So most of them are all private, aren't they, the alleys, Aaron?
Believe most of them
Yeah.
are, he said, yeah.
I could see it being a nightmare to add that for Public Works as far as plowing, so I guess I'd like to see, I'm pretty sure they're private, and for them to remain that way. But I like them. I think it's a good, you know, it ends up with a good housing mixture, and but I just don't want any narrower streets. So.
And I think the idea is that this is gonna go through Public Works first too, and they'll give feedback on, you know, what's too narrow for
Yeah, and
their equipment.
we'll get the fire department involved and make
Right.
sure it works with all their fire codes and things too, so.
Yeah, I think it'd be beneficial. for a tour, especially if we were together or had, you know, really specific things that we were looking for that we'd be considering. So I think that that's kind of a good benefit to be together, have you guide us, Aaron, like things that we should be looking at when, rather than just driving over there ourselves, like I might not notice things that I should be.
Yeah, I'd like to do it with the designer because he spent 30 years kind of thinking about an inch here makes this kind of difference. So it's interesting to do that.
I think the other piece, if you do, I agree with the no shorter roads, but the narrow roads. But if you did narrow that, you increase the sidewalk setback, right? The biking, we hear a lot on the Facebooks and the neighbors, like the kids are zipping through, they don't do stop signs, all that stuff. Well, bikes should be on the road. That's kind of where they're designed to be. If we give them a better purchase, on that sidewalk, make those wider. I saw the 5 foot, but actually say, hey, these are the bike lanes. Like a lot of the communities, they've been building out the bike lane. They're talking about, the bike lane up into the schools and stuff like that, the bike paths. And I think that's super beneficial for a community like this. That ultimately I think is the direction. It's community, it's not industry, right? So I think all that would help to see.
Are there specific, in the bike pedestrian plan that was approved last fall, is there anything that is complementary to these types of changes that have to do with sidewalks or road designations for safe biking and what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'll have to
Okay.
check in with Kyla. We're kind of working on this anyway, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so that's kind of all I had for this evening, so if we're interested in doing that, I'll try and get that set up.
Do you want any other feedback from us on what was outlined in your memo?
I don't think so. I think the comments we've had are good, but I think just seeing it in person kind of helps too, so.
I guess, Aaron, kind of playing off of what Alex mentioned, I know the curb radius part of that also is tied to pedestrian safety, bike safety as well. So I would just encourage staff as you go through this to be aware of that, and as part of you doing the research into that, also include those, some data on that and what's recommended based off of research studies, things along those lines.
All right, if there's no more discussion on this item. Future agenda items? Anything in the pipeline?
Nothing specific that I can think of. We'll see when we can get this field trip scheduled.
Okay. Otherwise, number 10.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Motion by Alex, second by Don, non-debatable. All those in favor?
Aye.